Newman.
Well, thanks very much, Barton Green. Ladies and gentlemen, I can also acknowledge and thank Andrew Tambakis, but also Jim Giorgio from the Greek Club and the Greek community, and other members of the executive and Greek community here this evening. But ladies and gentlemen, what I want to do, and I haven't been given a lot of time, is talk about, firstly, the vision for Brisbane, but also how that translates to the future of this very important precinct that we're sort of standing in this evening. And I start by saying that it's the firm belief of myself, the officials of council, my political team, and the folks in Brisbane marketing, that the way we should look at Brisbane going forward is like this: that the last 50 years have belonged to Sydney and Melbourne, but we're absolutely adamant that the next 50 years are going to belong to Brisbane, because Brisbane and South East Queensland are going to be incredibly important in the economic growth and the social and cultural development of this nation. And so for that reason, we are branding Brisbane these days as Australia's New World City. Now, I've just been overseas to Korea and Taiwan. We, as a city council, have been for some years running a conference called the Asia Pacific City Summit. And we had 1,000 delegates to a conference that was held in Incheon. 150 cities were represented. We got to deal with people from around the globe, particularly the Asia Pacific region. And I've got to say to you this evening, it is just so incredibly exciting to be the Mayor of Brisbane at this time. We can be so proud of where our city's going, because in a world with a lot of doom and gloom out there, with all sorts of troubles, I can honestly say to you, put my hand on my heart, that Brisbane is powering on ahead. There are many good reasons that I won't go into this evening for that to happen, but one of the big ones, of course, is the state and council's infrastructure spending. But if you wanted to be anywhere in the world at the moment, you'd want to be here. I guess my starting point this evening is that Brisbane has an incredibly positive, an incredibly bright future. One of the things that we have to deal with, though, that drives everything we're doing at the moment is the whole question of planning for growth. We're going to have another we're going to see our population in South East Queensland go from 2.8 million to 4.4 million people over the next 22 years. And so the state and local government have had to plan for that growth. Brisbane itself, and I think these targets are probably underdone, will go from a population of around about 1 million people to over 1.25 million in our local government area over that same period. And so Brisbane has been given a target of another 156,000 dwellings that we have to deliver in the current urban area. Now, it would be very easy to react in a negative way to that, to say that's incredibly difficult, it's going to destroy Brisbane. On the contrary, we believe, and we're very, very passionate about this, that we can deliver incredibly positive outcomes over the next 20 years and remake our city. We can be a more sustainable city. We can arrest urban sprawl. We can actually get a more compact city, a city that is easier to get around through the better use of public transport. But there are some hard decisions to be made. In terms of the local area, which is so close to the heart of the city, to the GPO, the traditional centre of the city, there are some great opportunities and some challenges. We're currently, as Barton said, undertaking a planning process. It's been a planning process that's been going for some time, and it's to create a new plan for South Brisbane and West End. We are trying to accommodate growth in a sensible way. In essence, the plan provides for 2/3 to 3/4 of this peninsula with its wonderful heritage, character buildings, its tin and timber, to be protected. It doesn't get touched at all. But in the areas of old commercial and industrial land, particularly along the Montague Road, Riverside Drive sort of area, there is an opportunity to create a wonderful, new, vibrant community. We want to see a village, literally, a village atmosphere in the heart of the big city. It's got all the infrastructure, it is close again to the CBD, and we see that as a great trade-off, preserving the tin and timber, being part of the overall plan to arrest urban sprawl and the destruction of green space in South East Queensland, creating a more compact and sustainable city as we go forward. That plan is out for public consultation at the moment. There's all sorts of controversy about it. Of course, the media, sorry Martin, I know you're once from that sector, but of course the media are going to brand it as controversial. It is something that is going to be contested. But I say to people who perhaps are here this evening who have doubts, that our motives are absolutely sincere. We don't want to destroy what is inherently good about West End in terms of the character, the bohemian nature of that. We want to work with local groups to try and preserve that, but also take the area forward. In delivering that infrastructure and delivering that plan, there are many things we're going to have to do. We're going to have to pay close attention to public domain at street level. We're going to have to improve park and recreational facilities, and that's going to be tricky. We've got to improve public transport infrastructure and also road infrastructure. You'd be all aware of the Hale Street Bridge, or should I now say the Go-Betweens Bridge, which is being built as we speak and will be open by the end of July next year. But you may not be aware of the City Glider bus rapid transit service that we intend to commission sometime in the first 4 to 5 months of calendar year 2010, which will see a high-frequency bus service linking Orley Park in West End with Newstead River Park in Tenerife Newstead via the CBD, where in peak hour buses will go every 5 minutes and in off-peak times every 10 minutes a bus will go past. And that's to service that high-density core in the city. And we're also, of course, looking at new City Cat stops as well. I guess I just want to say in conclusion that we do have a vision for the City of Brisbane. We do see this as a vitally important precinct, notwithstanding what people are saying at the moment, who are, if you like, opponents of what we're trying to do. Notwithstanding that, we are sincere in our desire to make this, for the long term, as the place that is the bohemian heart and soul of Brisbane, and we have to work very carefully to do that and get the housing mix right in the plans that we're developing. But we think that the future is bright for Southbank, South Brisbane, for West End and for the City of Brisbane. Thanks so much for having me here this evening. If you want to buttonhole me later on and say you're out of line, you're crazy, or you're a demagogue, what are you trying to do to the place, happy to take that sort of feedback. I am in a service business. But thanks again, Barton, for the opportunity to you and your committee for being able to say a few words this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great night.